Hello and welcome back to another video. I'm so glad you are here and decided to click on this video. So today I am going to talk about the worst books that I read in 2024. I was originally going to do my top 10, but when I'm talking about things that I really don't like, I feel like I can get a little lengthy. So we are doing top 5. However, I will give you those other 5 as well that were also pretty bad. So before I get into the ones that I disliked the most, the honorable mentions are One by One by Frida McFadden, The Great Believers by Rebecca Mackay. I know, that's an unpopular opinion. Never Lie by Frida McFadden, Grief is for People by Sloane Crosley, and Showmance by Chad Biguelen. I don't know if I'm saying that last name correctly, but it's on this book cover that I put here. So those were all books that I also really did not like, but I did like them slightly more than the ones I'm about to talk about. So let's get into it. The first one that I really just did not like, I read this back in February, and that is called Last Acts by Alexander Sammartino. So this is about a man who owns a gun shop that's really, really struggling out in Arizona. He really just is not, it's not going well. And his son is a drug addict who has been in rehab several times. So one day he gets a call saying his son has once again gotten out of rehab and he should come pick him up. So he does so. And the son and him are just kind of like trying to get the gun shop back in business. And that is the book. It is so slow, nothing happens. This book is like barely 200 pages. And I just told you the whole thing. I just saved you like 4 hours of your life because that's all that happens. So, yeah, this one has very simple reasons why I didn't like it. The humor in it was clearly supposed to be very like tongue in cheek, but it did not land at all. And overall, it was just like nothing that I will really remember, and I had to definitely go look at a video where I talked about it so I could remember the things I didn't like about it because it was that forgettable. The next one is another that I read quite a while ago, early in the year, and that is The Gunslinger by Stephen King. And I know that this is both an unpopular opinion and not, because people who really love the Dark Tower series, a lot of them just will not tolerate any slander about it at all. And this is the first book in that series. And there's also a lot of people that are like, yeah, it's like maybe not the best. Like, if you are a fan of The Office, I am. I always tell people if they haven't watched it before, I'm like, just start with season 2 and go back and watch season 1 later, because there's really nothing that happens that you like need to know before. And honestly, season 1 is just a little cringy, and you can go back. And honestly, I feel like that would have been a way to explain this. Like, sure, there's like a couple things here and there that I would have needed to know to move to the second book, but I could have gotten those from like a synopsis. I didn't necessarily need to have read this whole book, but I mean, of course, like that's always the better option. However, I did not understand what was going on in any way. There is just I felt like I was being dropped into the middle of a book already in progress and I just like didn't know what was happening, and I kept waiting for it to make sense and it really didn't. So I did like the Drawing of the Three, which is the second book, a lot better. However, I haven't actually read past that, so maybe that will be something I try to do in 2025, but yeah, The Gunslinger, not for me. The next one is Lula Dean's Little Library of Banned Books by Kirsten Miller. So this one actually got a lot of hype. A lot of people really loved this. I just thought it was kind of bland, and it felt like a really high level overview, I guess, of a particular problem, and it didn't actually address any of the real problems that are like going on with it. So this is about a woman named Lula Dean who is like, appalled with the state of the world. And so she puts a little free library out in front of her house, and she is like only putting these like nice wholesome books, and like by wholesome I mean books without any queer characters or any people of color characters. And so it's, yeah, I mean, she's got like these traditional values, but really that just means racist and homophobic. and any other kind of bigotry you can think of. And so these two folks go into the little free library and change the covers on the books, so like the dust jackets, and put other books inside. So people walking by are actually reading like the things that Lula Dean didn't want them to. And of course, like it's not, I mean, I guess this would be considered a spoiler, but like it's got a happy ending. And so to me it was just such an oversimplification of this problem of banning books. And because it was just like, oh, well, we all learned our lesson. Well, mostly she learned her lesson, and other people read these books, and whoa, it wasn't so bad. And I just thought it was like really taking a serious topic and just like kind of dumbing it down. And like I understand that it can be, something that people on all like levels and all like parts of the book spectrum, I guess, like people that are readers, people that aren't, and maybe just need like a little brief intro into it. But at the same time, I was just like, this isn't really doing anything. It's trying to address this issue, but it's making it seem like it's less of an issue than it actually is. There were also way too many characters and way too short of a book to get to know any of them. And I'm glad it was short because, like I said, obviously did not like it. But I just kind of felt like I was like, not like actually skimming through it, but I felt like I was just like skimming through this chapter of these people's lives because I didn't know really any of them very well. So yeah, this one I get why, the idea, the concept was there, but the execution did not do anything for me. Next is one that I had such high hopes for, and that is Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies by Catherine Mack. So this was just a stupid book. I read this for my book club, and honestly, all of us thought exactly the same things about it. We all hated it. So first of all, this is about a woman who's a mystery writer, and for some reason that I don't know why and is never really explained, she decided to name her male main character after her actual, like, at the time boyfriend.
It actually is explained. I just don't remember at all.
And so he, like, ends up becoming, like, a celebrity because he's, like, who this character is based on. But, like, I don't see how that would ever really happen without, like, lawyers being involved. Anyways, she, has this book series, and so she ends up on like a promotional tour in Italy, and her ex-boyfriend comes along with her sister, who's her assistant, and a couple other like authors. And it's honestly kind of strange because they're like on this tour with big like fans of her book that paid to come on this tour, but like she doesn't really spend any time with them, so it's kind of weird there. And so then, they're in Italy, they're like doing all this, and like someone keeps like trying to kill people. Now, it doesn't sound like that, like different of a plot, but like still, if you're a cozy mystery fan, something that you could enjoy. But the way, like, there's so much that's not explained. So the characters are just kind of not great people. The main character, I don't like her. Like, she was kind of snarky. She is like kind of rude to her sister, and there was so much that I just like didn't understand. Like, why would this ex-boyfriend be on the tour? Like, I don't get it. There's also like another ex-boyfriend of hers on the tour who's just like a random other author. Like, why is he here? A lot of stuff like that. There's also an excessive use of footnotes that I think are supposed to add some kind of like fun little extra insight, but they don't work. They're constant. So if you're reading this on audiobook or ebook, luckily I was not doing either of those, but people in my book club were, it's impossible because the footnotes don't come in till the end of the chapter. And so you're like, I don't even remember what this is referencing. I get it that that's like just a thing that happens with ebooks and such, but there's so many of them constantly, and they are not necessary. And if they were, like, just put them in the actual text. A lot of people also in like reviews said that they thought this book was like very, very funny, and I don't get that because I did not think it was funny in any way. So personal opinions again, but yeah, this book did nothing for me, and it was also really, really long, and yeah, just not it. And the last of my worst books of 2024 is one that I have already done quite a lengthy rant about, and that is One Italian Summer by Rebecca Surley. This was just really a frustrating book for me. I, like I said, did a whole talk about it while I was making my TBR game that I've used one time, but it was, yeah, it's so many things to talk about here. So it's about this woman who has a very, very close relationship with her mother, like borderline creepy. I barely even think it's borderline. She and her mom are like just absolutely obsessed with each other. She doesn't do anything without questioning, asking her mom's opinion, including like if she's ready to have a baby, which is very weird. And like I understand like just kind of getting her like, hey, like do you think yeah, I'm excited about this. Getting her like thoughts, but like not asking her permission because you are an adult woman with a husband and that's who you need to talk about with this. Anyways, so her mother dies and she's obviously just destroyed. And she and her mother had planned to go to Italy on this trip that was coming up and they had it planned. So, you know, immediately after her mom dies, she decides she wants to divorce her husband, even though there was like seemingly nothing wrong with their relationship. She's just upset and like wants to change something in her life, I guess. So she ends up taking this Italian trip by herself. In Italy, when she gets to her like resort that her mom had stayed at like 30 years prior, she basically meets her mom 30 years ago. And like she's obviously kind of confused, but like way less confused than she should be considering that that's not a thing. So she kind of gets to know her mom in like the past, kind of. First of all, love a time travel book. Love it. However, you got to explain to me the time travel. Even if your explanation is like, we can't explain it, we don't know, but like this is happening and we don't get it. Like that's literally one of my favorite books, my favorite book of all time, 11/22/63. That is how the time travel is explained. We don't know. It just happens. That's fine. But like it's not even acknowledged as something weird. So I don't like that. Additionally, her relationship with her mom is like not even like a thing that is like admirable. It's just cringy and like unhealthy. I mean, I already kind of explained a little bit, but like she says that they're the love of each other's lives, which is, I guess, sweet, but like that's just, that's something a mom says about a daughter, not a daughter about a mom. And I don't think that a mom would want that. Like, she talks about how her mom's relationship with her father is like not as strong as hers with her mother. And like, it's different, sure, but like, that's just weird. That's, I don't know. That's weird. There's a lot of stuff also in the Italy portions, that I just like was bored with. She describes in full detail everything that she sees, which is mostly just like water and like buildings, and then describes every single meal. And now I like that like maybe once, but this book is only like 250 pages. And so the fact that she spends so much time like filling pages with these descriptions, I'm like, okay, so maybe we need to like go back and take a look at the plot. If we can't even get a 250 page book without a third of it being filler. So anyways, yeah, I've never read anything else by this author, and I know that she's very popular, but I feel like this was enough to let me know that she is not for me. I feel like I got myself all riled up talking about those again. So there you go, my least favorite books of 2024. I am excited to share with you my favorite books, but until then, I want to know what your least favorite books of 2024 were. Please list them for me down below. I would love to know if we share opinions or if we don't share opinions. If any of these were books that you loved, I want to know about that too. Sell me on it. Maybe I'll change my mind. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!